You may have seen people using 4 or 5 Everests doing this target for fairly low repair as though it's instant, but what if I told you you don't need 4 ships to get the same results? This is one single Everest against the Reaver level 160 Iceport. Starting out, the first thing you do is kill the first meteor mortar. Once that's down, I'm going to head off to the left and kill the next one. Make sure you stay out of the range of that brimstone missile for as long as possible. Notice how my projectile speed is just barely fast enough that it's shooting down most of the incoming projectiles from these meteor mortars, but not quite everything in some cases. Should be low enough, and I am happy enough for the number of projectiles getting through. Next, head off to the right side and kill this vulture missile turret. You can not outrange this thing, but you can avoid the damage by killing it over the mountain. At the same time, even without a Molotov maintenance crew, I do some splash damage to this core saber. After that is down here, and you should take no damage in the target at this point, you can kill the core saber by outranging it. It is pretty tricky. You do have to use a down arrow to stop, so you stay at the center of your ship outside of the range of that brimstone missile, kill this thing, and you can outrange that pretty easily. At this point, you could retreat and find a brand new target if you wanted to, but I'm going to kill this whole thing. Target the brimstone missile, do not worry about the vulture missiles for now. With only one missile defense system 3, you do get overwhelmed here with 2 of them shooting at you, but killing the brimstone is much more important. It is fairly slow with 1 ship, but you can do it, and I even have enough splash here to get a decent amount of splash off on the vulture missile on the right, as well as a little bit on the one close to me. Once that's down and the projectiles have finished hitting your ships, you can transition to killing the one furthest away from you that's at lower health, and then the one closest. You do take a little bit of damage from these missiles on this one ship. Now I'm going to have to kill the Hellstar here. Do your best to outrange it, and worry about things shooting at you from the left. Your mortars on one ship, just 2 gales, do get overwhelmed by the Hellstar mortars themselves, even from one ship, so it is important to make sure only one of them is shooting at you at a time if possible. I did this by sort of getting lucky with the timing when they were shooting at me, because they do have a very long reload, but if you do engage it more off to the right side, further away, only one of them will be in range. The one off to the left, off screen, won't be hitting you. Once that is down, you can get damage onto this vulture missile turret by killing those little buildings with splash damage, or just by targeting it directly. You do have to move through the ice fields right here. This is the shortest path, just off to the left as quickly as possible. Now we do have one shooting at you from the right to Hellstar, as well as the one from the left. Keep moving to avoid damage, and move off to the right side. At this point, you're just killing this thing, which does take a little while because these are not buildings, they're ships, and your building damage is significantly higher than your regular mortar damage. This thing will be killed, and it should only get a volley or 2 off at you in terms of its special mortars, and that's not a whole ton of damage. If you look at my repair, it's probably instant repair up to this point. If you wanted to retreat partway through the target and hit this 2 or 3 times, you could probably get this thing done for instant repair. There's that ship down, and now I'm going to head off to the upper right side of the target. Stay out of range of the brimstone missile here, and use these random buildings to splash damage as many things as you possibly could. If you had 2 ships here, you would be able to splash damage them completely without even getting in range closer on the right side. 3 turrets there are down, and the brimstone missile has not fired at me. Now head off to the very bottom of your screen that you can to stay out of the range of these vulture missile turrets. If possible, it doesn't matter if you go through the ice field, and now target the Hellstar. You will take a little bit of damage from the meteor mortar here, so I decide to kill the meteor mortar first, just so my antis aren't completely overwhelmed, if at all possible, so that I have more antis left to focus on the Hellstar. Maybe not the best decision, but it's the one I made here. Now I have 1 meteor mortar shooting at me, and then the Hellstar. I'm going to target the Hellstar, which does take a decent while to go down. Also notice that I am splash damaging the vulture missile turret on the bottom left of your screen. If I had a Molotov maintenance crew, I'm sure that I would be able to kill it with the splash damage. I am running a decently splash heavy build, but you can get significantly higher in terms of splash at the expense of building damage or say projectile speed. I think my build, which I will show you at the end, is fairly decent, but it could do just a little bit better. Hellstar is down, going to target a building, random building, and do some splash damage to these turrets, get them about halfway dead. If you had a full fleet, you could kill it and kill that entire building there with no damage. Now, these other 2 vulture missile turrets I am going to get in range of and shoot at and kill because they were so low health. You could use the mountains on the top of the target here if you run around for a backdoor approach to come back at the end and kill that. I'm going to see if I can get some damage on this meteor mortar here without coming in range of the brimstone missile, which you can just barely see at the top of your screen right now. I'm going to move forward, and I am going to see it shoot, which means that I am in range of it. I have to move towards it if at all possible. You can outrange the Gore Saber, make sure you do that. Outrange the Gore Saber and then target the Brimstone, take it down, because that is the main damage source in this target, is from the Brimstone in terms of penetrative damage. In terms of explosive damage, I believe the highest is by far from the mortars from the Hellstars, because I'm shooting down most, if not all, of the meteor mortars. I would like my projectile speed to just be a little bit higher if possible. Maybe I'll have to end up changing my build around a little bit and going for one ship that is built as a countermeasure tank, although I'm still hoping to have some sort of projectile speed bonus come from the upgrades or the flagship when we get those, a few months from now. There's the target done. No crew, no rocket. Mostly explosive damage, a little bit of penetrative damage, about half of that. Penetrative damage, a lot of it I could shoot down with my 1 missile defense system 3, and the gale damage was pretty good. You can see all my damage was, of course, explosive. 36 minutes of repair off of one ship. Could you ask for anything better? Yeah, but not very much. This is pretty much all you need. Here's my build that I'm showing you. Don't just build this because you're copying me. Build it because you're understanding the tech and why I'm using it. Because I may not have the best build out there. But I hope this video helped you. If it did, go ahead and leave a like. And as always, this is Derpy, signing out, helping you be a better pirate.